Right, hello wine drinking people. Time for more of what I've had to drink yesterday, and we are doing serious scientific research here at the Wine Watch, like with our vintage Spanish tasting, and we had to reschedule this one. You know, this is one that has been one of the highlights of the year for me the last couple years. You know, everything on the table has shown up, which is amazing because with old wines, you just expect to get a few bottles that are just not right, just not perfect, but I think we got 10 perfect examples. Well, 11 if you count, or 12 if you count the Torre Le Mata Cava that we started with, and the Toro Albala 1986. The only thing we had to sell, well, we had this Cava to sell too. People forgot about that by the time they had the Toro Albala, though, because it was so good with the little Toro Albala Pedrimento ice cream cones that Tony made with the chocolate. Just a perfect pairing with that dessert wine. But I digress. On to the wines that we tasted here. Everything 20 years or older, and from the cellar of Dr. Bob Maliner, so another reason why we expected the unexpected with how many good bottles show up. We rarely get a bad bottle out of Bob's cellar. We started out with the 1954 Aje Fuenmayor, and wow, man, this, for an old dog, just amazing how fresh this wine was. Some people said it tended to die in the glass quickly, but I'll tell you, on the second day, this wine seemed even better. Still a lovely tangy red berry fruit, some toffee notes, tobacco spice, and just lovely complexity in this wine, lovely freshness, and just a silky smooth tannin. And if you have this wine in your cellar, I don't see a reason to keep it any longer, but I'll tell you, based on how good it was today, this wine may last another 10 or 20 years. All right, the 70 Cune Vigna Real, by the way, that wine came in second place. The first place finisher was the 1970, a great vintage. Still a very dark color on this wine. The Gran Reserva Vigna Real from Cune, a blockbuster still. A lot of good dark berry fruit, lovely smoked meaty notes, some incense spice, and just hitting on all cylinders. Still had a lovely richness to the wine and wonderful acidity and freshness. One of the things Tempranillo is known for. That is the reason why the wines of Rioja age so long. The Gran Coronas from Torres, let me tell you, man, we just brought in the 2000 vintage of the 2011 vintage of this wine. We're selling it for under $20. The 78 is still fantastic. Unbelievable. And you notice we changed gears here to Cabernet Sauvignon because this wine distinctly Cabernet. You get that dark currant, the black pepper notes, tobacco. Really smooth and silky on the tongue, though. The tannins fully evolved. Just drinking beautifully right now. Where can you buy a wine under $20 that you can keep for 30 years or more? Spain. All right, 82 La Rioja Alta, 890. The Gran Reserva from one of the most famous producers in Rioja, still drinking beautifully. We had all great vintages on the table, but I'll tell you, even some of the off vintages, the 87, the Bodegas Riasanas showed beautifully. This wine showing a little graphite mineral character, almost like a Bordeaux, and we actually had one at Brown Bag, the 904 that people guessed was Bordeaux. So this one had a little bit of that coconut character, that lovely incense spice, and just silky smooth on the tannin, on the tongue. Wonderful freshness and just a beautiful bottle of wine. The 85 Cune Vigna Real. This wine also still very much alive. Lovely smoky meaty notes, a light savory red berry fruit, silky tannins, lovely balance. This wine drinking at its peak right now. Beautiful example of that wine. Again, we had 3 different vintages of Vigna Real. The 87 Bodegas Riojanas Vigna Albina Gran Reserva. A little bit lean, but still some fruit here. This one had a nice savoriness, nice smoky and dried meat characters. An excellent example of that wine. Like I said, that may have been my least favorite wine, but still excellent, as was everything on this afternoon or evening. The 1990 Cune Vigna Real. This wine showing this great vintage structure. This wine, a lovely bouquet of dried meats, still lovely fruit here, and a little bit on the savory side on the finish, but still nicely balanced, and this 90 drinking beautifully right now. The 1994, wow, this wine's showing very youthful still. This is the Gran Reserva, the only wine ever to hit the number one spot in the Wine Spectator from Spain. Well, the 2004 vintage did, not this 94, but 94, another excellent vintage. This wine, lovely complexity here, that smoky incense kind of spice note, and a lot of dark berry fruit. This wine still lovely richness on the tongue, and a good firm hand of acidity, most excellent juice. As was the 1994 Pesquera Janus Reserve, but now we're in Ribera del Duero, very very different wine. Very well endowed, this wine, this Pesquera. Very rich. That lovely smoky, meaty character in this wine. Dark cherry fruit and still lots of tannins here. Very big, a firm hand of acidity. This wine needs a little bit more time. Showing excellent though right now, as was the 1995 Bodegas Muga, Torre Muga, and a more new style Rioja here. Very dark in color. Wild strawberry jam-like fruit, smoky, meaty notes, dark spices. This wine didn't get one vote for first place. Got a lot of honorable mentions, though, and a lot of people thought this wine just needed more time. Big, but has all the stuff in proportion. Most excellent juice. And then the 1986 Torre Albala Pedro Jimenez. This wine looks like motor oil, but has this incredible richness to it. Just dates, figs, sun-dried fruits, dark spices, and a firm hand of acidity, molasses, and like I said, just went beautifully with those Pedro Jimenez ice cream cones with chocolate on them. All right, that's what we had to drink at our vintage Spanish tasting. I'm your host, Andrew Lampasoni, signing off for the Wine Watch, saying remember, always drink the good stuff first.